Welcome back, everybody. This is BNSF RailNet making a new video for the North Metro Model Railroad Club. Unfortunately, in the summertime, these things might seem like they're spaced a little further apart as far as the updates, but as all of us know, summertime you have more stuff going on outdoors, so we apologize for the delay, but we'll get back to as far as the update goes. So this here is kind of overall blueprint of the space, and obviously you can see everything in the middle is the layout. These will actually be walk-in pieces, but this is just kind of representing the Duluth Lake Superior kind of waterfront. So that is that. So as again for phase one, we have all this stuff up here constructed along with the staples over here, and then coming into Saunders and Boylston Junction. So with that, this whole section will be phase two, and then I'll also show you what is also going to be going on now with this wall and the whole north runaround. So if you've watched any of the previous videos, this was intended to be the Monticello sub. What it's going to now turn into is a two-deck basically branch line, and the one will still be the Monticello sub, and that will be on the higher deck, roughly about 20 inches or so above what the new lower level will be. And this is, for anyone that's familiar with the Minneapolis area, this is basically the whole switching kind of complex on the west side of the Mississippi River in pretty much downtown Minneapolis. So we're transferring that to the plexiglass just to get an overall layout, and we'll be representing the Humboldt yard for CP coming across with the river bridge right there, and then all the switching. I think they said there was upwards of 26 different basically businesses down in this area, so all the way ending at the Minneapolis Star and Tribune right downtown Minneapolis. So that's a new addition to what's going to kind of come along. So as going back now to the layout, this is the kind of the mock-up for the basically the phase two benchwork. So just a rough idea. And we'll continue to the layout here, starting out at the Golden Homosoap. We've tried placing cars at all the industries that are technically live already, so if you see cars down in industry, it means it's up and operational. So the layout will be starting to run a little off to see what the yards will hold and industries will hold too. So continuing north, we're coming into a little more progress being done to the Budweiser plant in Coon Rapids. Coming into on the Hinkley sub on the upper tracks, we have the two industries in, I want to say it's Ham Lake, kind of Cedar and the East Bethel area. And then coming around the corner, we're coming into ILS, which is in Bethel. And then you got your staple sub on the lower legs here. And coming around into Big Lake, you can see some kind of mock-ups for scenery. A couple of different methods just to see what's going to work out. Up in Big Lake, the North Star is just kind of finished, but we still need to start working on the buildings and then finish wiring all the switches as far as the turnout tortoises, or the servos. So, and coming into the rest of Big Lake, last tracks have been spiked down, so Big Lake is now officially finished. And this track here goes into a lumber yard, and then the further back track will be a warehouse back here that the track dies off in. But these switches have now been in place, and a grain mill. So, and then in the foreground we're going to have the city of Cambridge that's on the Hinkley sub, and that is completely finished up now. You got your gas and propane dealerships, and then another industry. And that one finally completes Cambridge, and then that will continue off back there on the lower level. Upper level is Big Lake, Elk River, Becker, and then This is going to be one of the final industries they're starting to work on. One of our members is in the process of laying down. He stepped back. I don't think he's going to be on the video here, so but he's working on this, so that industry should be live pretty quick. Nothing too special has changed in Becker. And then I always start a couple updates here as far as changes to the layout. So you got your Hinkley sub in the background, and that continues and Y's off with the temporary junction, and then you have the Y underneath the rest of the layout, which is going to be hidden. This eventually will lead into the helix. So this track right there, the lower one, will lead into the helix back there. And then with St. Cloud, all the track has been laid with the exception of these two switches here, or actually just this one switch here. But that needs to be finished off. The tracks just need to be spread out to the ties. And then one other thing that has come to change is on the real prototype, this would actually be coming straight across to a diamond right here. And then in St. Cloud, there's a passenger depot here. So we're going to represent the depot here, like has always been intended. But we're also going to add 2 more yard tracks, just basically to hold the traffic in St. Cloud, because with all these industries back here, there's a lot of traffic that's going to come in for car switching in. Rather than tying up the mains, there'll be a few extra tracks in here to hold that capacity of cars. So a little update for St. Cloud. So now we'll be moving on. These back here, this shot here is the St. Cloud cutoff, so that eventually goes underneath the Staples yard, which is back there. And this lower line is the one that goes into the helix, and it's also a reverse loop Y to come out at John Pierce Trestle Bridge. So we still haven't had it lit up, so I will wait till we get some of the scenery laid down to kind of do this thing some justice versus just seeing the wood built, the structure on the framework. So we'll go into a little more depth in that thing and maybe sit down with John and have him explain what he did to build this masterpiece. So moving back up to Staple Sub, nothing too special. This is that scenic running area. Then we'll jut down to the left here. This is going to be on the Hinkley sub. This is the town of Rush City. And it's got the big grain mill here. And then your passing siding along with the main line down here. So this is apparently technically a label has been put down for Randall, Minnesota. And then back here is Little Falls. And actually there is a really big yard and stuff like that in Little Falls too, but obviously we can't really fit that in there, so we'll just do a nice run by. So the last major big change coming into the layout is our most current kind of thing we've been working on. And we have, of course, the Staples yard in the upper half, which is all laid out and everything. But underneath, we've been talking about the staging yard underneath there. So now what we've come up with is we will have this switch lead right there. It's going to fan off into a few tracks, and then the outside 2 tracks will actually go to this new yard which was just put in tonight, and this will actually shoot all the way down. You can actually see the train sitting out to the right, but it's wired up and everything already. But this will be basically 4 tracks, and these will both go down into 2-track reverse loops. And I'll show you where they will come out. And then we'll also have 4 stub-ended tracks about 35 feet long to hold some extra trains underneath. The track that you see there is the one that continues out of Rush City coming this way, and then continues over to the Saunders Boylston Junction. So jumping up, Staples yard's all been laid down with the exception of the diesel shop tracks, but everything else is in, laid down, servos work. This is just the last piece of the puzzle to be fit in, which is basically just the roundhouse, turntable, and just all the engine tracks that come out there. These will go back to car shops back here, and so forth. So Staples is pretty much almost done. A few industries left to play with. And now I will jump back down below to the hidden reversing loops here. So we're going to actually jump to Brainerd here. Sorry, we're skipping all over the place. And coming out of Saunders here, you have your Hinkley sub starting up here. Sorry for the bad reflection here. Come on, focus. So with that, I'm gonna stop this video here because something's going on with the lighting on this thing. So I apologize for that last section. That's really light. So we'll make a second video of this. So we'll catch you up in a second.